During the test you'll be required to carry out the pre-start and running checks, load 3 loads onto the trailer and unload them, a high lift, a load at full reach, stacking 3 loads on top of each other, the chicane both loaded and unloaded forward and backwards, hills both loaded and unloaded with a hill start, removing and replacing an attachment. Once you've carried out all the required checks to the machine, we're starting off with the first load. Remember to stop and handbrake neutral before picking or placing any load, adjusting the tilt before booming into the load. Once you've hilled the load, lift slightly, apply backward tilt before retracting the load. Remember to carry good observations, then moving onto the trailer. Get nice and close to the trailer, apply handbrake neutral before lifting, tilting and booming out. We're going to place this the far side. We're going to put another 2 bins on this trailer. You need to keep enough tilt on the load so the load doesn't slip off. Once placed, be nice and smooth with the exit. You need to be as clean as you can without touching the trailer or the load. Nice and smooth before lowering the boom down and tilting back. We ideally want the forks in line with the wheel hubs, fully tilted back. On to the next load. The next load is going to be placed next to the blue bin, so stop, handbrake neutral, level the forks, lower the forks and then booming in, adjusting the height as you do this. Again, you want to be as clean as you can on entering, not to damage the load or catch the ground. Hit the load and then apply the tilt. Then retract the boom. Try approach as square and as straight as you can. Applying the handbrake neutral again, then lifting up and then booming out, placing it next to the blue bin. Try to place everything as neatly and as square as you can. Then retract back into travel position. Last load. There's a little bit more to this load. The forks protrude out the far side of the pallet, meaning if we place it straight onto the trailer we could catch the blue bin. We have to do what we call an undercut on this load. You could either do this on the ground or on the edge of the trailer. You just want to bring the forks out enough so you don't hit the load on the far side. If you bring them out too much, you can drop the load. This is the undercut from the other side. Remember to always lower the boom and return to travel position. Don't drive with the boom up in the air. We then move on to the incline. We've got a load on, so now we need to drive up the hill. We're going to do a hill start on the hill, performing handbrake neutral. The cone was already knocked over on the hill. next activity is to place a load at full reach. To do this we are going to use the stabilisers. Make sure you're level, using the gauge in the centre of the cab. Make sure the stabilisers have nipped the ground and you're on firm level ground. You will then go off and do another activity such as the chicane. So here you've got your forward and your reverse, full left hand lock and your right hand lock. Then you'll return and pick the load up from full reach. This lift is one of the trickiest to get back in position. If you're not in the correct position, you're better off moving off and readjusting and coming back rather than trying to force the load. Remember to lift the stabilisers back up. It's a common fault with people leave them down and try drive off. Now to unload the trailer. Remember to do the undercut first. Now to the tower. Approach square and straight. Applying the handbrake in neutral before lowering the stabilisers. Make sure you are perfectly level before lifting up to eye level. Levelling the load. It's a lot easier to do it down where you can see it rather than over 10 metres up. Take your time with this. It's the most challenging lift. From the operator's point of view, you can really see the limited visibility they've got. Personally, the hardest point is getting the forks out of the load which is grounded and then back in to get the load back down. Once the load's up there, you'll then go off and do another activity. Here we are unloading the trailer, the remaining 2 bins. You also have to do the chicane with a load. You can see how tight it is from this point of view. You're not allowed to lift the load up, you need to keep it low, keep the machine as stable as you can. You're now going to do the stack. So this is where you stack all 3 loads on top of each other. do have one more load to put on top of the stack, which is the load on the tower. Remember to pull up, lower the stabilisers before sending the forks up to retrieve the load. Once you've placed the third load on top, you will probably go off, move off, do something else and then come back, but just for the benefit of the video I've just stayed in the same place. I'm going to de-stack them all and we need to place them neatly next to each other. Once you've placed all three loads on top of each other, you will then return them, keep them neat, keep them square.